Let me go ahead and introduce Levi. As I said, he's the next speaker. He is an experienced equal employment opportunity officer with 9 years of dedicated service in the field of EEO, compliance, and program management. He currently serves as the EEO Officer of the Department of Consumer Affairs, where he leads EEO program oversight for 36 distinct boards, bureaus, committees, ensuring compliance and fostering an inclusive work environment. Levi's dedication to supporting individuals with disabilities in the workplace is demonstrated through his extensive work with disability advisory committees, SDACs, across 4 different departments. His involvement has been varied and impactful, including roles as a DAC member, coordinator, liaison. In each capacity, Levi has worked to create more inclusive environment, ensuring that disability-related concerns are addressed and integrated into the broader departmental policies. I've known Levi for a long time. When I was the DAC chair at CDPH, Levi worked at the Office of Civil Rights. So without further ado, Levi, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate that intro. Happy holidays, everyone. Very happy to be here and talk to everyone here today. And I'd be remiss without saying that, I have a lot of experience with Bobby and always appreciated his passion and his dedication to this space. It's very inspiring. And then also sad to hear that Joe is leaving, but wish him his best on the next part of his journey. He will definitely be missed, but his efforts will not be forgotten. So without further ado, I guess I'll kind of get into my slide deck here. Something that I found very interesting, as Bobby mentioned, I've been at a few different departments, and when I came into consumer affairs, I found it very unique, their LEAP program, because it was very ingrained in the culture here and promoted in ways that I just hadn't seen before. So under our agency, at least the last 2.5 years I've been here, we've always led in LEAP hires. And even prior to the hiring list being separated out, we also led in LEAP hires. So I kind of wanted to share it to you today, just basically how we promote it internally, how we promote it externally, hopefully gain some value out of that, maybe think about it in some other creative ways that you could take back with you. And also, if you ever want a copy of my slide deck, Bobby does have a copy. And I'll share my email here at the end. And if you want a copy or have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me as well. And really kind of what I wanted to share today is just the powerful collaboration and synergy between our LEAP program, our EEO office, and the Disability Advisory Committee. As I'm sure many of you already know here, LEAP offers an opportunity, an alternative to traditional job testing, allowing participants and applicants with disabilities to demonstrate their competencies through on-the-job training, essentially. And really the partnership that we have for all of our departments within consumer affairs, it really plays a vital role in just ensuring the unique needs of individuals with disabilities are not only acknowledged, but really actively supported, which kind of promotes a more inclusive and equitable work environment. So that's kind of what I wanted to share here with the group today, and then also answer any questions. But really, I kind of want to share some of the key things that we do internally to support the LEAP program in lots of our different offices, and how it's really a joint effort. And I think what I noticed is when I first came in is it really starts at the top. Our director, our chief deputy director, our Office of Human Resources, they all greatly value the department. I mean, it does help that we have a lot of entry-level classifications, and we want to fill those and make sure we have, good retention rates in those. But really, like I said, it's strongly supported and actively promoted at every level in our department. And by focusing and supporting individuals with disabilities, it's really championed throughout the organization and kind of embedded in our day-to-day activities. So kind of give you a few examples, kind of what we do. So for the DAC, we have a monthly newsletter that we put out. And really what we try to do is we try to provide informational and educational articles about the LEAP, as far as, what is a JEP, the JEP period, promotional tools, a wide range of topics, both informational and promotional, I guess you could say. And then we kind of supplement that also by doing disability awareness and different training and educational opportunities, obviously DEIA as well. But we try to get something out. Our DAC tries to get something out every month in that news article to really keep that momentum. And then even like prior to the LEAP list being combined, they did a lot of unique things that I thought were really cool. So for example, um, each quarter, the manager that had the most LEAP hires, they would be awarded a certificate of achievement by our disability advisory committee. So I thought that was pretty cool too. And then also what our DAC does is if anyone has any questions about the LEAP program, they'll coordinate with our HR LEAP coordinator and they'll provide like an ad hoc training just to answer any like technical questions or technical advice. Um, and also what they would do is they create their own LEAP video that's housed on our intranet internally. And that does a lot of LEAP highlights as far as explaining what a JEP is, how to complete a JEP, FAQs, where their informational resources are. And that's on the front page of our intranet, so very accessible to all our employees. And then as far as our EEO office goes, we do a few different things here as well. We have LEAP pamphlets that have a lot of that similar information in it. So whenever you come to the EEO office, you can grab a pamphlet. If you're unsure or have any questions, you can speak to us. And if we don't know the questions, right, we're going to direct you to the right person to talk to, which is our LEAP coordinator, or even the DAC, which is very knowledgeable about our LEAP. And I say that the key thing, what we do is during our supervisor, manager, and even rank and file new employee orientation is we highlight our LEAP program, like what is LEAP, what are the benefits of using LEAP, and then just some of the more informational details, where their resources are, and answer any questions they have. So we try to get them right in the beginning on the onboarding, obviously online, and then also through our monthly newsletter. So kind of a synergy between the DAC and our EEO office. And then our LEAP is actually housed in Office of Human Resources, which many are, right? I guess everyone's set up different. But for us, we have our LEAP coordinator in HR, and they've really developed that program. They've created a LEAP guide, which is also available on our intranet and really goes through step by step many different details, FAQs, informational documents. And really what OHR has done at our department is made it a key part of our entry level classifications and our culture. So those are some of the things that we do internally to promote our DAC through the 3 different offices that we have here. And then also what we do externally. So we have a few things we do externally, as I think a few members have mentioned, Michelle as well. Great picture, by the way, Michelle. Is we have our own booth also at the Disability Awareness Fair that's held every year in October by CHP. And so what we do when we host that booth is we get our DAC, our EEO, and our LEAP coordinator all in that booth. And really one of the main components of that booth is just sharing LEAP information with the public. And so we have a lot of informational resources available. We can answer any technical questions. And we can actually, we have a computer out there, so we can actually get online, Cal Careers, and help them out as well if they have any questions. So we try to heavily promote it during the Disability Employment Awareness Fair. And then another kind of cool thing I think we do between our DAC and OHR is we distribute all the LEAP information that we have we kind of reach out to the different college campuses in all our demographic areas, and we kind of give them the resources. So we'll give them all our LEAP information to their disability coordinators. Sometimes a college, instead of having a disability coordinator, they'll have an ADA coordinator or an accessibility office. And if they don't have any of those, we'll just reach out to their career center and provide those informational resources to them. Then answer any questions they may have. So really utilize that, which I thought was a pretty cool thing they do. And then office also kind of Michelle shared it as well, is we really try to highlight it during our job and career fairs. So our LEAP coordinator will go out to all of our job and career fairs, and they'll ensure LEAP materials are available at those career fairs and answer any questions they may have and promote the LEAP there as well. So some interesting things we do internally and externally. And like I said, it has led to us within our department having a lot of LEAP hires. So we're very proud of that. But kind of moving forward, I guess kind of what I wanted to highlight is it does take a group effort. It has to start from the top down, as others have mentioned. So the collaboration between our LEAP program, our EEO office, our DAC, I think is a great example of how we can work together to create a more inclusive and accessible workplace. Like I said, Michelle even mentioned we're our one department. So if there's any questions you have for me, I'll share my email here in a minute. You can always reach out to me or our office as well. And I'll be happy to help any way I can. But really, prioritizing the needs of individuals with disabilities and providing, innovative solutions, I think empowers individuals and fosters that culture of diversity, equity and inclusion and accessibility. And it really just benefits everyone. So very happy to kind of share what we do internally today. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time. And just like I said, a special thank you to SDAC and Bobby for allowing me kind of to present today. I really appreciate it. And then if you have any questions for me, always feel free to reach out. I got my contact up there, but that is all I have for you today, and happy to answer any questions as well.
Thank you, Levi. Really appreciate the presentation. Very helpful. And someone commented, thank you for the presentation. It filled me with hope.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
You're here to give hope and being very charitable during
it is the season, right?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Question I have for you. I know during the intro, I noticed that you actually oversee like 36 different programs within consumer affairs. Do they each have a unique, different EEO office, or you're overall in charge of all that, and they each have their own unit? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a very interesting setup here because we have oversights over our boards and committees, but our bureaus should take our best practices and implement them, but they have kind of their own autonomy. But essentially how it works is we have HR liaisons and EEO liaisons at each board. So they're my contact to implement any best practices just to make sure they're complying with state and federal mandates. So we have an executive office that kind of oversees, and that's where my EEO office is, that oversees the 36 different boards and kind of implements those. So yeah, it's very unique. And like I said, everyone's kind of siloed out, and I'm sure other people working for the state are very familiar with that. Everyone kind of, each division or office sometimes may want to do certain things, and we kind of got to get them all on the same page. But that's kind of how it works. We have a liaison in each office, and those are my primary contacts when we are promoting something. But our executive office, when we disseminate information, we'll disseminate out to all the different boards and bureaus. And to give you an example, it's like Bureau of Automotive Repair, Athletic State Commission, chiropractic board. So there's lots of different unique boards that do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. And I think CLSB is under that as well, right?
Yeah, that's our largest board. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you have a unique need from different boards as to their personnel requirement, the disability awareness issues, the accessibility, anything like that?
No requirement, but we do, like I said, we do have a pretty, I think we have over 10 members on our DAC. So we do try to reach out to each board and bureau and really encourage them to join the DAC, whether that be as a member or just sitting in. So it's heavily encouraged, especially in some of our large boards and bureaus, but no special requirements per se, just like I said, promoting it and trying to get their input and feedback. And then sharing that input and feedback once we do have a direction that we're going on a certain initiative or policy or something like that.
There are two questions that came in the chat. One question, the participants asking, how many LEAP hires did the Department of Consumer Affairs, do last year?
That's a great question. I know it's a high count. I don't have it offhand, but what I'll do is I'll get it from our HR liaison and I'll share it with the committee. That's a great question. And
a second question in chat is, what is the DCA's parity rate?
Okay, so that great question. We are right at the bridge. I think we're right at 13.3%. But one thing that we actually corrected this year, so which I think will push us up to around 16 to 18%, is our safety classifications weren't included in the last workforce analysis, which we did get them implemented. So we have over 400 safety classifications because they're law enforcement officers. They're post-certified, handle firearms and things of that nature. So we are right at the cutoff right now, but we definitely anticipate that to rise to about 16% just with the classifications. And then this year, we did a huge push on our state employee disability survey. We did a marketing campaign for it. We had the director push it out. We created these cool little flyers or QR codes at all of our elevator stops. And also the month of October during ending, what we did is our DAC coordinator and our ADA coordinator actually sat at our entrance and did the same thing. We had a big poster board, a computer right there in case they wanted to do it right there. But they also kind of shared the QR code there too. So we anticipate our numbers to increase. But yeah, right now I think we're right at 13.3%, like or 13.1%. We did to create an action. I think we're 0.2% under what we're supposed to be. So we did create an action plan, but anticipate that to be up this year.
The peace officer classification, the 832s, usually they will not be counted as part of your parity rate. So when you're saying 13.3, you're excluding them, right?
We weren't able to exclude them last year. That's why our numbers were down. But this year we asked CalHR to exclude them, which should improve our numbers this year as well, because we have such a heavy. Not only are those 400, we have a lot of non post-certified supervising special investigators that go out and put themselves in harm's way, going out to some of these locations. And I won't share any kind of the horror stories, but there has been some safety concerns. So they're actually reviewing those two to get another, possibly more included in those as well. So we'll see.
Right. Another question came in the chat. How did you get each team to set a liaison? Was it a requirement or through volunteer?
It was a requirement.
Okay. Yeah. The other question in there is, I would like to know for handling digital accessibility efforts and education.
Yeah, so for us, the HR requirement, that was one of our requirements. Every board, bureau, or commission has to have an HR a requirement. And then as far as our accessibility, I'm not too sure what the question is there, but what we do is we partner up with our communications and IT to make sure we are, ADA compliant, Rehabilitation Act compliant, and everything outward facing is, up to state and federal mandates. I think the latest ones came out in 2019 and 2021. So yeah, we just kind of work coordinatively with our team, and our OIS team, our IT team essentially is part of our executive team. So they're able to filter out all those to the different boards. They work with all the different boards to make sure they're compliant as well.
By the way, Levi, one of our former colleagues, Daniel Best from CDPH DAC, responded in chat saying your parity rate, DCA, is 13.9 as of 9/20/24, the last quarter report. Okay. So it's higher than what you reported.
I was reporting our workforce analysis, our last reporting of our workforce analysis, but that's good to see it's going up because we did put a lot of effort in promoting that. So no, I appreciate you looking out and letting us know. And hopefully this last quarter, it'll improve from there too, especially with CalHR. We got them our safety classifications in December. So hopefully once those get enacted, it'll improve as well.
And the other question is, can you share the Q&As on your intranet page regarding how to complete a JEP and so forth? I think there are instructions in the back of that JEP form, right?
Yeah, we actually have, and if you want, just shoot me an email. We have a LEAP guide that kind of goes through that and an FAQ document. And I'd be happy to share those with you. Just shoot me a quick email. And then what I can do is I can respond to that and provide those resources.
Another question, do you ensure that your inward-facing website / SharePoint documents, etc., is accessible for employees?
Yes, we do. And that's something, like I said, it's ingrained in our culture. So our Office of Communications, we're actually working on a new language access plan with our agency to kind of expand some things towards that. But yeah, everything internally and externally should be up to code as far as that goes. And then, like I said, just on all of our Teams meetings, we also, like I said, we provide ASL if requested, and I'll close captioning on all our internal meetings and things like that as well.
And I'm going to assume that since you deal with so many different boards, many of them are public facing, some enforcement, complaint driven, all those interaction with the public, they're all accessible with ASL interpreter available in meetings and so on, right?
Absolutely. And our office does handle all the ASL requests. So we have taglines we put on all of our outgoing communications and even our internal communications that if that's needed. So we handle quite a few ASL requests each month that we facilitate in our office. But yeah, and that's pushed out, like I said, through our IT department too, to just make sure all the outward facing websites are accessible as well. So.
And is that true, Levi, with the consumers when they're calling to complain or submit a complaint or interact with your boards and entities? Same thing happens, or is there a different process for that?
No, so we definitely offer it if they call, you know what I mean? We'll offer it if we can or if we're aware of it. But what we try to do is on all our vital documents, because they're pretty essentially all the vital documents we go are out to licensees or consumers. We try to make sure we have taglines on those. Well, we do have
Mhm.
taglines on those. We just conducted the bilingual language survey. And so
Mhm.
we have a huge plethora of vital documents just because we have so many different boards. And those taglines are included that if they need any accommodations, ASL requests, closed captioning, to contact our office. And then what we do is we make sure they have those.
Great. Thank you. I think that's all the question I have in the chat. Any other questions for Levi? You can unmute, ask your question. We have Michelle. Please go ahead, unmute, ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Levi, for your presentation. It was great. You guys are super close to us in a partner agency. So I am curious, does your communications department offer any, I think you might have just mentioned a little bit, guides or anything like on how to do presentations that are accessible or things to consider when you're presenting to the public, communities, also internally with our own internal staff? Are there any guides or anything that you would be willing to share or that your department has on that?
I can definitely I will take a look to see if we have any guides or best practices or anything. I do know, like I said, we have the taglines that we include in all our vital documents, everything that goes outward facing. But that's a great question. I will follow up and see if they do, and if they do, I'll send that resource over to you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And Michelle, Levi was the former speaker from ABC, by the way.
Oh, perfect.
All right. We also have Carrie with your hands. Carrie, go ahead, unmute, ask your question.
Hi, actually, Michelle, this was in response to your question. The DOR gave a training when I was working there that I participated in that touched on the subjects that you were just asking about. I would recommend looking at their disability access DAS. Karen, you might need to help me out. Their DAS part of their website, and they have a lot of resources for employers, and you may also just want to give that office a call. Disability Access Services. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Any other questions for Levi?
Bobby, this is Virginia Hartley with Cal OES. I'm having a problem finding my raise hand feature, so I hope I can just
Yes,
do this.
please.
Raise my hand.
Ask your question.
Thank you. Now, Levi, I thank you for your presentation, and I appreciate that you have said that the part of the culture is providing reasonable accommodations, and all your outward-facing documents are presented in an accessible fashion. So here at Cal OES, we're trying to implement the use of reasonable accommodation statements in all our invitations, and to ensure that we have 508 compliance and accessibility in all our PDFs, not related to websites per se, because we do have that implemented, but on PDFs that are going out via email, invitation-wise. And I was wondering if you have any actual policies, internal policies in place, or how do you implement that culture? Is it in official policy? Is that something you can share, or is it just, how is that shared across the board?
Gotcha. We definitely do have a policy for that, and I could definitely share it. But I'd say the other piece of that, and that policy is controlled by our communications office with internal stakeholder feedback like IT in our office. But definitely happy to share that policy as well. But I would say that's what I found very unique when I came into DCA was how much everyone embraced it here. And it could be for many different reasons. I know our director is big into DEIA. She's part of our steering committee, so it definitely helps to have her on our DEI committee. But the other thing is our Office of Human Resources really utilizes it as a tool. I'd say we're fortunate because we have a lot of entry-level classifications, OT, OA, mail machine operator, program tech 1, 2, and 3. And we really need these positions filled. And when we really engage using the LEAP, we had great success with it. So I think that helped. And not only that is, like I said, all of our different offices embracing it and kind of promoting it, whether it's onboarding with new employees, or our DAC providing able to just reach out to these supervisors and talk to them, giving them ad hoc training on them and how to utilize it. So I think it all kind of like coalesced, collated into the way it is now, and really embracing it as a culture.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
A follow-up question about that. You said DEIA is an important part of your office. How do you collaborate the DEIA into the disability advisory committee work that they do? Is there any particular formal way to reciprocate values that each of them share?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bobby. They actually work very closely together on a lot of different internal initiatives when it comes to promoting accessibility or DEI initiatives. So there's members that are in our DEI steering committee, our DAC members, and then our DEIA steering committee is also a member of our DAC. So there's kind of a cross, synergy between the two, and they work very closely together. So when we come out with communications, we have a DEIA portion of it and a DAC portion of it in our newsletter. So they kind of work together almost as one team. So it definitely helps.
Great. Thank you so much. Any other question for Levi? Hearing none. Going once, going twice. Well, Levi, thank you again for a wonderful presentation. You're always welcome to SDAC, and thanks again. And you're welcome to stay on, but if not, happy holidays.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks.